Wicca is a spiritual path. It is technically a religion, and it is also a spiritual path. In fact, it's probably these days more of a spiritual path than necessarily a dogmatic religion, because there's so many different takes on Wicca and so many different beliefs that various different Wiccans have. And I'm sure that there are some things that many Wiccans agree on and also disagree on. So it's a spiritual path. So today I wanted to talk about how you can use gemstones or crystals to help you with your spiritual awakening on the Wiccan path. But before I dive in, hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. If you want to learn Wicca, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. So crystals are one of my favorite things to work with. Not only are they very, very beautiful things, like this rose quartz point here, but they're also energetically very powerful. And I know that crystals kind of get a bit of a bad rap because they're seen as being, oh, crystals, you know, like it's some airy fairy thing, and that, you know, there's not much weight to crystals in regards to anything of any depth. It's all just fairy floss, basically. That's because the people who are saying that haven't actually worked with these as beings and consciousness in and of themselves. So there's definitely nothing light about them. They are literally quite heavy when it comes to the fact that they're rocks, but they do have an energy about them and almost like a consciousness about them. And you don't really know that until you actually start working with them, and working with them in a way that can actually help you become more awakened to who you really are and what you really are, which is really what spiritual awakening is. It's awakening to the truth of your being, and hence then the truth of all being, because we are the microcosm of a macrocosm. So when we wake up to who and what we are, we actually wake up to who and what everything is, and our part of being in this everything. So crystals, of course, can help us do that, because we are all connected. So we are connected to these as well. You've probably got some favorite crystals that you like to work with. I know that amongst witches and Wiccans, amethyst is a big favorite. I think for a lot of people, it's probably the favorite. I certainly love amethyst, but it does have a very heady, I find a very heady energy to it. So I don't work with it a huge amount because it is quite powerful in that sort of upper chakras. Now, the ways that you can work with your crystals depends on what you're into and how you like to work with them. So you can certainly work with them in regards to the chakras. So that's getting various different gemstones that line up with the colors and the energies of the chakras. So for example, if you're working with the heart chakra, you may choose a green crystal of some sort, or a pink crystal such as rose quartz. Really great gemstone to work with for anything to do with your heart chakra. When you're working with your chakras, you want to start from the base going up, and you want to make sure that the first three chakras are pretty steady and pretty open, and that you've done a lot of work on those base chakras first before you start trying to open up the higher ones, because the lower ones influence the higher ones. And if you haven't got your mundane ego stuff sorted out, and you haven't got that connection to who you really are, you haven't done the work on your shadow self, which is a part of yourself that you disown, or you don't realize you have, or you don't want to have. So this is the parts of yourself that are deemed to be unacceptable. If you haven't done that work, and you haven't released a lot of that programming that you would have had growing up, that has caused a lot of guilt and shame and fear in your life, then the upper chakras are going to be colored by that, particularly the third eye chakra, which is your visionary chakra. It's where you see the vision for yourself in the world. That is actually colored by your beliefs that you've accumulated about yourself And the work that you do on your lower chakras will help clear that vision. So often the things that people may channel or may see, because every time we channel something, we're always channeling through a filter. We're never a clean channel. We're never getting information that's totally purely coming from spirit or other entities. We're always colouring it with our belief system before we open our mouths and tell other people or write down what it is that we're seeing. That's going to colour your vision. So your beliefs about yourself and the world around you is going to colour the information that you get when you're doing any type of downloading or channeling. That's why when you listen to a lot of different channelers, you'll find that often the way that they will express what they're receiving will be coloured by their religious beliefs and by their political views and by everything that they believe or perceive, because that's coming through a filter. So it's the same when you're doing your spiritual awakening. You want to make sure that your lower chakras are resonating properly, that they are vibrating well before you start to work too much on the upper chakras, because otherwise you're just not going to get the benefits that you could get otherwise. The methods for doing these things, whether you're working through the chakras or whether you're not working through the chakras, you don't have to work through chakras. It's not necessary that you do that. It's just something that's very, very popular and often easy to get hold of in regards to information on how to do it. But working with the gemstones, there's so many different varieties of gemstones out there that you may be wanting to just go with your intuition and where you feel you need to go, which means going into a crystal store, or if you're working online, you've got to use a little bit more discretion, because it's hard to know sometimes when you're buying something online whether it's the real thing. Particularly if you're buying it over things like eBay or any of those places where you can get really cheap stuff, you may not be getting the real thing. So preferably if you can get somewhere physical, like a gem show or a shop, which is hard to do at the moment with all the lockdowns around the world, you want to actually go and connect with the gemstones themselves. Now, if you are doing work with meditating, which is what you're really going to be doing with your gemstones when you're working for spiritual awakening, you are going to be meditating with them. You need to have a relationship with the gemstone in order for it to be able to help you wake up to who you are. And you're going to have a long relationship with it, because you've got to spend time doing this type of work. It's not like you can just get a little crystal tumble stone and carry it with you in your pocket and think that it's actually going to do anything for you. It's a very tiny little tumble stone is probably not going to do a huge amount for you, because with crystals, size matters. So the bigger the crystal, the more energy you're going to get it generating for you. So carrying a crystal is good for magic, if you've programmed it to help you with magic in some way, so if you're using it as a talisman or a charm in some way. If you're wanting to use it for awakening to who you are going to have to meditate and learn how to meditate, because it's meditation where you're calming the mind, going into that still place, slowing your brain down and focusing on one thing, bringing your nervous system down to a very calm and relaxed state, so that you can then go into an alpha state or even a theta state. And that's the state you need to be in. This alert beta state brain that we function in most of the time when we're out and about isn't really conducive to connecting to the subconscious mind or connecting to the intuition and to our guides. We need to be quiet, especially starting out for this sort of work. So you definitely need to learn to meditate and work with how you can connect with whatever crystal you're working with. So if you're working with the chakras, you'll have a particular crystal that you'll work with in regards to whichever chakra you're working with at the time. If you're not using the chakras and you're just going with your intuition about a crystal that's drawn you to it, because if it's really drawn you to it, then it's probably speaking to you and it's the one to work with now. Or You may be working on some aspect of yourself. Maybe you are working on fear, for example. So you're looking at various different gemstones that you might be able to work with around fear. So maybe it's anxiety around speaking up or something like that. So maybe you're looking at working with aquamarine or a blue crystal or something that's going to be around the throat chakra if you're working with the chakras, or working with that confidence in regards to speaking up and exploring the beliefs that are stopping you from speaking up. The crystals can actually help you do that simply by tuning into their energy and meditating on what you're feeling as you are holding the gemstone. The palms of our hands are ways of us being able to take in information from the environment around us. So energetically, we know, especially for those of you who've done Reiki, that you can channel energy out through the palms of your hands, and that's what you do when we're doing Reiki. You can also take in information through the palms. So when you are working with a gemstone and you're holding it in the palm of your hand, you can really connect with the energy and allow that energy to just be like a sphere of energy around you. Just focus on what it feels like to hold that stone. And when you start to meditate on that stone, you can meditate on the color, you can meditate on what it feels like, you can then allow yourself to just go with whatever imagery comes into your mind. Now again, remember we've got the filter thing coming on. So some people have filters that are stronger than others. Some people have very active imaginations. So the information that you get from your gemstone may not be 100% really perceptive information. Some of it could be your imagination, and some of it could even be your ego butting in. That's okay, that's normal. Just learn to tune in to what you're getting in your mind's eye as you are working with the gemstone, just to tune into it. Now there's other methods that you can use to actually transfer your consciousness into the gemstone so that you can then merge with the consciousness of it. That's an exercise that I have in the Mystery Witch School 101 Academy course. And that can help you connect more with the gemstone as well. But when you're starting out, you want to get used to the feeling of what it feels like physically to hold your gemstone, and then how that's affecting your body. So how does that then transfer to the rest of your body? What sort of feeling are you getting? What sort of sensations are you getting in your senses? Do you have a taste sense when it comes to picking up a crystal? I tend to have a very strong taste sense when I'm working with calcite for some reason. It's only calcite crystal. When I hold a calcite, no matter what type of calcite it is, I will get some sort of taste. So I relate to it in very much that sense. Others you may get visions, some you may hear things. Others you may get a more of a sensate, so it might be a feeling in your body that you're getting. What are you getting when you're holding and meditating with that crystal? Because you've got to set up that relationship with it to start off. And then as you are tuning into the feelings that you're getting with that, just allow the vibration of the gemstone to be able to then just have an effect on your being. You don't have to think about anything. You don't have to control anything. You don't have to do anything except surrender and allow the energy of the gemstone to engulf you and work on your vibration and tune into it. That's all you have to do. The rest is about being receptive to what happens after that. So you may get a vision, you may get feelings, you may just get a really relaxed sensation. But if you practice working with these gemstones every day, particularly if it's the same one every day, you'll find that it will start to open you up to seeing things in a different way. It'll start opening you up to taking a more detached view of life. So it is about stepping back and being detached from what's going on around you and not getting emotionally caught up in what's going on around us. That really is one of the keys to awakening, is being able to take that step back and not getting caught up in the emotional roller coaster that the world wants us to get caught up in. It's a distraction. All of the drama is a distraction. We're wanting to be able to step back and be detached, and meditation and working with gemstones can help teach you how to do that. And each gemstone will teach you how to do that in a very different way. And then as you work more and more with it, you will find that you will get subtle changes and different ways of thinking. You will start to perceive things differently, and you'll start to think differently. And that is a way of subtly being able to open your energy field up and to open you up for the change and the deprogramming that needs to happen in order for you to be able to connect to who and what you really are, which I know a lot of people out there are really looking for when it comes to Wicca. And it's one of the reasons why I include these self-exploration and self-inquiry and all of these sorts of practices, these meditative practices, in the Mystery Witch School 101 course, because it's something that's missing from a lot of traditional ways of teaching the craft. It's really an inner journey. We can learn the Sabbats, and we can learn lunar rites, and we can work with the deities, and we can work with magic, and we can learn how to see auras, and we can learn to astral travel and do all of those sorts of things. But if we aren't in tune with who we really are, and we haven't really come to terms with ourselves, then all of that other stuff isn't that helpful. It's not going to make us happy. And I know that we all want to be happy, because you've said that. You want to find the peace and the joy in life. And that comes from the freedom of being who you are. So that's a big part of what I teach, and hopefully comes out through these videos as well. So if you are looking for learning Wicca in a way that's actually going to help you feel better about yourself, as well as learn the basics of circle casting and Sabbats and working with deities and lunar rites and magic, etc., do check out the Mystery Witch School Academy. The link to the course is in the description field below this video. Enjoy your crystals. Get to know them. Have fun with them. Do set up a relationship with them. Work with one crystal over a long period of time to really get into understanding how it can help you and how it can help you change for the better. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. Blessed be.